plead guilty, Your Honor.
The court will find your plea of guilt is done knowingly, intelligently, and voluntarily. Excess of alcohol. Somebody could have got hurt or worse that day. But I know who he is. And I know his family. I know his significant, I don't know his significant other. We will go on the record in the matter. Sorry, if you could just give me 1 second. I'm looking at another case that I have to highlight something.
Oh, no worries, Your Honor.
We will go on the record in the matter. 25 CF 156, State of Wisconsin versus Markeith Philippi. The state appears through Assistant District Attorney Jose Vila in person. We have Mr. Philippi in person with counsel Emma Hanu. We're set today in this matter for a plea and sentencing. The parties have reached an agreement. Ms. Hanu, can you please recite it on the record?
Thank you, Your Honor. For the purposes of today, Mr. Philippi will be pleading to the one count of the Class H felony of threatening law enforcement, but entering into a deferred judgment of conviction agreement with the Burnett County District Attorney's Office for a period of 1 year where he must complete AODA counseling with follow-through and a number of other conditions outlined within the DJOC, where at the end of that DJOC, if successful, this would be amended to a resisting or obstructing misdemeanor charge for costs only.
Costs only. All right. And it states normal costs of $443? Or does it just say cost?
It's just for standard court costs for,
Okay, sounds good. And does it say paid within so many days?
by the conclusion of the DJOC, everything
Okay.
needs to be paid up.
Have to have it, the cost paid, etc. Understood. And he is sitting a revocation, therefore he is no longer on probation, correct?
No, he is not, Your Honor.
Excellent. Can you please give me the plea questionnaire waiver of rights form and DJOC? Are you okay? Thank you. Mr. Philippi, is that the agreement that you've reached with the state?
Yes, it is, Your Honor.
I have in front of me a plea questionnaire waiver of rights form as well as a deferred judgment of conviction document. Do you recognize both of these documents?
Yes, ma'am.
Are these documents that your attorney went over with you thoroughly?
Yes.
Did she essentially go over them word for word?
Yes.
And do you understand them completely?
Yes.
If you didn't understand something on either of these documents, did you ask her to explain it?
Yes, I did.
And she did so.
Yes.
Did you sign both of these documents?
Yes, I did.
You are 26 years old. You have 12 years of schooling. You can read, write, you understand the English language, and your attorney thoroughly went over what the state would have to prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt, as well as the maximum penalties, correct?
Yes.
No mental illnesses or disorders, no alcohol, drugs, or medications.
No.
Because you're charged with crimes, you are entitled to constitutional rights, and each of those rights is listed on the first page of both of those documents. Did your attorney thoroughly go over those rights with you?
Yes, she did, Your Honor.
And do you understand them completely?
Yes.
Do you need me to go over those rights with you in any more detail?
No.
Do you understand that by pleading guilty, you're waiving and giving up those rights?
Yes.
Do you understand that if you're not a citizen of the United States, your plea could result in your deportation?
Yes.
Do you understand that if the state does not accept the deferred judgment of conviction, that means that judgment will be entered and you will be sentenced on the felony?
Yes.
Do you also understand that if that occurs, that you will no longer be able to use or possess a firearm for life? You would not be able to vote until your civil rights are restored. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Do you understand here that the state would have to prove as to count 1, threatening to cause bodily harm to certain individuals involved with a court or legal system, that the state would have to prove on or around October 12th, 2025 in Burnett County, Wisconsin, you threatened to cause bodily harm to another person, Deputy Jeffrey Carroll, a law enforcement officer, without that person's consent, knowing the person's status as a law enforcement officer, and he was acting in response, or you were acting in response to an action he was taking in his official capacity and in lawful authority. Do you understand what the state would have to prove?
Yes.
Do you understand that upon conviction of this Class H felony, upon conviction, you could face a fine of up to $10,000 or imprisonment of up to 6 years of incarceration or both?
Yes.
Do you understand that this deferred judgment of conviction is an agreement that the court does not need to accept?
Yes.
Said differently, if you plead guilty today, I could enter judgment and sentence you. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Do you still wish to proceed and enter a guilty plea?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
Did you go over the criminal complaint with your attorney?
I did.
In particular, that section called the probable cause section, where it basically says what happened that day and why you were charged with the crimes?
Yes.
For the most part, are those facts accurate?
To the best of my knowledge.
Are you admitting here today that the actions that you took that day were threatening to cause bodily harm to Deputy Carroll?
Yes.
And he was acting in his official capacity with lawful authority?
Yes.
And you knew that?
Yeah.
Ms. Hanu, may the court use the probable cause section of the criminal complaint along with the statements made by your client to find a factual basis?
Yes, Your Honor.
Has anyone made any threats or any promises to you for you to plead guilty to this charge?
No.
You're doing so freely and intelligently, telling the court you fully understand what you're doing
Yes.
and voluntarily?
Yes.
Has your attorney represented you competently?
Yes.
Has she answered all of your questions?
Yes.
Has she looked at this matter thoroughly?
Yes, she has.
Are you satisfied with her services?
Very well.
Any questions for the court or your attorney before I proceed?
No.
As to count one, threaten to cause bodily harm to a law enforcement officer, how do you wish to plead?
I plead guilty, Your Honor.
The court will find your plea of guilt is done knowingly, intelligently, and voluntarily. I'm going to find that you understand your constitutional rights and what it means to waive and give up those rights. I will find a factual basis to accept your plea of guilt. Based on that, I will find you guilty of count one. Count two will be dismissed and read in for purposes of sentencing. I will stay on entering judgment. Arguments to be heard. Mr. Vila.
Thank you, Your Honor. This is a case where law enforcement responded to a bar because Mr. Philippi was intoxicated and causing a disturbance.
Whoa, check this. Body cam evidence shows Philippi on all fours, slurring, needing to be carried, and then attempted headbutt on Deputy Carroll. This moment really drives home why the court takes alcohol-related offenses seriously. The drama is real, and it's a wake-up call on consequences.
Once they got there, reviewing the body cam for this case, he was on all fours, slurring his words heavily, and law enforcement had to essentially carry him into the squad before they finally took him to the Burnett County Jail to be processed, where he attempted to headbutt Deputy Jeffrey Carroll. I think the court needs to prioritize the rehabilitative needs of the defendant with this one. It's clear that he seems to be struggling with some form of alcohol abuse, and I think this DJOC offers him the opportunity to A, seek the treatment that he desperately needs, and B, avoid a felony conviction on his record. As such, I think the joint recommendation is appropriate in this matter. And furthermore, I think it's in the public interest to have people seek out treatment so that they do not reappear in front of the court in this matter for future offenses. I think the goal here needs to be to reduce the chance of recidivism. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Hanu.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Philippi is a 26-year-old man who has struggled with alcohol addiction since his adolescence. If you look back at Mr. Philippi's record, you see multiple instances where he has had similar interactions with law enforcement. And if you look further into the details of those incidents, alcohol was always at the root of them. Mr. Philippi, I've had the great pleasure of representing him since he was moved to be revoked and these charges were filed. He has relayed to me multiple times that this is his rock bottom. This is the worst thing he's ever done, and he is here today to take responsibility. He has been saying since I've started representing him, I need treatment. I want to go to treatment. He has voluntarily said, no matter what happens, I will be getting treatment when I leave to address alcohol. As ADA Vila said, the protection of the public weighs very heavily here. I think addressing the root cause of all of Mr. Philippi's sort of interactions with law enforcement, the negative ones, is to get him help for alcohol treatment. He has never had the opportunity to go to treatment, and through working with our client service specialist with the SPD, and also through this DJOC, he will have that opportunity. And because he is so young, the felony conviction will weigh heavily as an incentive to complete that DJOC successfully. Mr. Philippi has young children he, needs to be home for, to care for, while also addressing his own issues. I think this would be the most appropriate resolution in this case to stop further recidivism, to address the root problems. We'd ask the court to accept the DJOC.
Thank you, Ms. Hanu. I have one question, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot. You indicated that through this agreement and through the SPD that Mr. Philippi would then have the opportunity to have alcohol treatment. But how is that possible?
Thank you, Your Honor. So he will not be released until May. I have gathered a list of places that he could go, and while he's incarcerated, we're going to try to get him a bed date. It's just the issue is he will be incarcerated until at least May.
How will it be paid for?
Mr. Philippi has Badger Care. He will, upon release, have full-time employment to address any room and board that he would need if he were to enter into an inpatient program.
Excellent. I'm glad to hear that. Mr. Philippi, you can just let me know whatever you want. You can tell me if there's something that you want to say, because you get to tell me anything you want.
We are also looking at possible outpatient options. Mr. Philippi is a homeowner, and like I told the court, he has small children and
All of us.
Yeah.
I've known Mr. Philippi since he was about 16 or
Yeah.
17. I've known him a long time. And I know he has alcohol issues, and I'm glad that that's all that it is, and that he may have kicked anything else. But I've known Mr. Philippi for a long time. So I not only know him on paper, but I know who he is. And I know his family. I know his I don't know his significant other. I believe that this is she who is present in the courtroom. But I know, I'm not certain if it is, maybe it's not, I don't know. I've seen her one time. She came in one time here, but I know that he has kids. I know that he saved to buy a lot of land so that he could build a house on that land. And I know a lot about Mr. Philippi. But it doesn't mean that I don't want to hear more. Mr. Philippi, what would you like me to know about this incident in particular, as well as, your feelings or thoughts as it relates to Deputy Carroll?
Well, I don't know, over the last year or so, I've been kind of struggling with a lot of stress, after buying the property and everything. Last year I had a few incidences where my property was being burglarized and a lot of property was damaged in the process. Just the stress of everything so far over the last year, as far as financial and trying to make sure my stuff is not being tampered with. I've reached out to law enforcement multiple times about the situation and nothing ever seemed to be resolved. Not saying that that's why I held the grudge or why the incident happened that night. I was working 3 weeks straight, not a single break, and ended up going out for a drink. I don't remember anything from that night other than waking up in county jail the next morning. I deeply regret my decisions that resulted in that night. I should never even enter that bar in the first place, knowing the stress I was under and how upset I was.
And knowing who you are and that you do know that you have issues with alcohol.
Yeah.
Substances.
Right.
And you know that you've been working on this your life.
Yeah. It's something that I thought I'd be able to control, and obviously I can't.
Unfortunately, I do know, unfortunately, I do know a lot about Mr. Philippi, and I know a lot of his upbringing, trauma that he's experienced in his life, and the struggles that he has had. He's come a long way. He may look like you're in a bad spot right now. You are in custody. You are sitting a long jail sentence. You have pled guilty to a felony in which it shows improper and disrespectful treatment to a law enforcement officer. And in this, it's really difficult today because I think a lot of people in our country have lost respect for our country and what it was founded on, and the fact that we have officers there to protect us, not to hurt us. That's their job. And if there are some bad apples that do things inappropriately, then they should be reprimanded and dealt with. But it's all about respect. I respect you, you respect me, you respect the officer respects you. That's how it should be. Everybody's doing their job. Unfortunately, on this day, you had an extreme excess of alcohol. Extreme excess of alcohol. Somebody could have got hurt or
Listen to this. Judge drops some wisdom. Respect is a two-way street. You respect the law respects you. But slip up, especially with alcohol in the mix, and consequences escalate fast. This is a masterclass in courtroom reality and life lessons rolled into one.
worse that day. Because I believe it involved an accident.
No.
Oh, it
that-
didn't?
no, not
This
that
one
day.
didn't. Oh, that was the last one that involved the accident. That's what I'm thinking of. But this one, yes, it involved a lot of alcohol, and you knew from the previous conviction, the previous matter, that you can't mix alcohol. You shouldn't have alcohol. You shouldn't be ingesting any alcohol or substances. You were on probation. And your behavior was not only disrespectful, but it was illegal, and it could have been hurtful. But I'm glad that you have had some time to sit and think. I'm glad that you have been thinking about wanting to improve your life and wanting to go to treatment. Because that's the only way that you're going to be a success, and that's the only way the community will be protected, and that means law enforcement too. It's a dual-way street. You respect, they respect, and if you feel you're not being respected, there are ways to go above it. Write me a letter, write the sheriff a letter, write the governor a letter, something like that. But start locally if you think that. But you're pleading guilty to a felony. You have things that you're going to need to take care of within a certain amount of time. And that means you have 12 months hanging over your head, in which if you do anything that rises to a probable cause of a crime, then judgment will be entered. You can be sentenced to prison. That's the thing. This is a felony. You have to do an AODA assessment, and it doesn't necessarily say within 60 days, because I'm guessing because you are incarcerated. So it doesn't have a time limit. So that's kind of ambiguous in the contract. So is it to?
It's before the 12-month term expires, we need to see some kind of documentation that he did AOD and follow through.
Okay, so before the completion of this entire 12 months, you must do the AODA and follow through. So that means you can't wait until the 11th month.
No.
And then do it, because there's going to be follow through.
Right.
And I'm going to say that it's in the document, you must pay $150 to the district attorney's office within 60 days. So I don't know how you're going to do that being incarcerated.
Your Honor, we amended that term also to give him
Oh,
60 days of
release.
his release.
I even underlined release. I'm sorry, but within release. So once you're released from custody, you're going to need to pay $150. Number one reason I see the DA's office asking to enter judgment. That's the number one reason. You're going to get a copy of this, because I'm going to say I added other things too, and I'm going to tell you what I've added. So upon release, $150 within 60 days. Number one reason I see them entering judgment and being sentenced on a felony, okay? Number one reason. I've also added that by the end of the term, I added that you must pay the court costs before the expiration of this agreement. So I wrote that so it's clear, so you understand.
How much is that? Your Honor?
$443.
Okay.
Plus any surcharges. So I will write that too. It's $443 plus any other surcharges. But the clerks will let you know at the time you go to pay how much it should be. So that's what that is. And I've also written as provision 12, an apology letter to Deputy Carroll within 60 days. from today, not within completion, within 60 days from today.
Okay.
Okay, you have time to sit, you have time to think. And it sounds like you've thought about it. It sounds like that you are remorseful, but I'm not necessarily the person that needs to hear that.
Right.
I need to hear that you want to change your life and you want to do some things. And
I wish I was here today so I could actually apologize in person, to be honest with you.
I know, I like that, and I would like that even more. But he's out doing his job.
Right. I get that.
So I'm glad to hear that you want to do that. So within 60 days of today, an apology letter from the heart, because I know you have one. Okay, so I'm going to adopt the deferred judgment of conviction for a period of 12 months with those additions. You'll get a copy of this new one. The clerk will make sure that she can print one to give it to you. And then your attorney will have one in her queue or in her electronic file. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Anything further, Mr. Vila?
Not from my perspective, Your Honor.
Ms. Hanu?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right, thank you. We are adjourned, and that's Ms. Freer. I apologize. I recognized you after I said it.
I'm just gonna run those.
Oh, okay. So if you just want to wait just 1 minute, she's going to go make a copy and we'll be ready to go.